Okay, the third debate is over. I've been watching and reading a lot of stuff. I watched the debate last night, and there's one thing I don't understand. Everybody said Donald Trump did that well, absent his faux pas. I thought he did horrible. What did Donald Trump say, and what program did he offer that was going to make this country be better? I'm still waiting to hear. Our most important problem, as far as we're concerned, is foreign policy. So all he talked about was how Putin and Assad are tough guys. Well, Assad, who's the president of Syria, is no tough guy. He's just covered by by Putin and with Putin's missiles and air support. Assad's got nothing. He has no support inside the country except from his little family group. And absent that, the rest of the people don't want to hear from him. We had a chance to move in. President Obama's foreign policy has been absolutely horrible. He's just really blown it. So now Assad is in there because Putin backed him. But he's no tough guy. And Putin may be a tough guy, but tough guys can be backed down. You just got to be tough back. Yet at the same time, after he talks about this, he then sounds like he'd go to war with Putin if they didn't make the deal they wanted to make with us. He has absolutely no foreign policy. He had the chance to really skewer Secretary Clinton, Hillary, with the foreign policy, and he just did absolutely horribly. This man's going to be president, or should be president. Look at some of his other stuff. Of course, we talk about, he's only going to, now he says today, he's only going to say that the election was fair if he won. Okay, let's have a good joke and a good time. They keep trying to, last night, all the surrogates, these puppets, just try to talk about Al Gore and George Bush, but nobody talks about what happened. What happened was Al Gore lost by 500 votes in Florida, and he lost because of the hanging chads. Does anybody remember the hanging chads? I didn't hear anybody talking about that. Those are like the mag cards we used to have. Most people don't know what mag cards were. They're just cards that go in with holes in them. Well, the hanging chads had these little pieces of paper hanging at the bottom. He had to look at each one to see if the chad was pushed out or not pushed out. We don't do elections like that anymore. We don't vote like that anymore, but of course you had to check that out. There's no issue. And when he lost, the Supreme Court said he lost, he graciously walked away and said, that's it. But he had every right to check that. I don't even think he did it on his own. I think Florida had to do it because the election was so close. And of course it was Ralph Nader who blew it for him. But has nothing to do with this. There is no voter massive fraud going on here. Unfortunately, the only fraud is Donald Trump. He is. He talks about how he takes out women and loves them and does everything to them and touches them and does everything, but when they say he did it, that doesn't count. He says that he understands everything, and he understands the world, but when it's proven that the Russians are involved in this WikiLeaks thing, he says there's no way. The man is like just not there. How can you trust him for anything? He's there. I'm sorry, he's not there. He is there. He's there for himself, because we still have to come back to the initial argument that everybody kind of forgets about, is that when he tried to mouth the judge who was handling his Trump University case, he's only doing it because he's worried about himself, not about the country. He runs out and says it's about the country. And if you listen to him, what does he talk about? Now we're a global conspiracy against them. Soon the Martians are going to be landing, and it's going to be an interplanetary conspiracy. He's probably going to say he was taken up in a flying saucer. I mean, this is all about him. It's not about the country. When I hear all these people say he's a change agent, he isn't. He's a change agent for himself. The Republicans blew it. They should have nominated somebody who could have taken on Hillary. They got this guy. He looked horrible yesterday. He looked horrible. He sounded horrible. Maybe 15 minutes, he was kind of okay. Then he started snorting like a bull again. This guy got killed by Hillary. She knew it was happening. She laid out the facts, and she kept giving him a little psst here and a little psst there. The old, I'm chasing rabbits, but I'm going to send you down the fox trail. And man, did he go down a lot of fox trails. That guy's going to be president. Just think how people are going to out-negotiate him. He looked horrible last night. Don't go for all this stuff that he was better. It's the low expectations story again. Like we talked about the last two. The expectations of this guy were so low that he got a little bit over it, that he did great. He didn't do great. Horrible. She killed him. It wasn't close. There was no debate. It was one person speaking and another person snorting. And that's pretty much all he did, because if he loses, oh no, it's a fixed election. Okay, that's where we are. That's what happened. That's my call of what happened last night. I think it's too obvious, and media's jumping around, including Sean Hannity. Sean, I'm like in this man's back pocket. Hannity is running around saying he won. Well, let people believe what they want. Should be very interesting, the election. He's going to get smashed, or votes are going to come out of left field that nobody sees coming, and he's going to win, or it's going to be close. I can't see that happening, but anything can happen in this election. But last night, it was all Hillary. Peace.